Good afternoon, everybody. Actually, good morning, everybody. It's been a long day. I've been up since 5 o'clock and I'm ready to say good afternoon already. I've got an hour to go. It's 11 o'clock here. Oh, goodness. I'm just going to bring it up on the laptop while we're waiting for some people to jump in and make sure we're all good here. Often I don't see the comments when we're in our private groups here until the halfway mark. So I like to have it up on another device as well so that I can see any questions or comments. Who's excited to be part of the decoupage workshop? Guys, this is exciting. It actually officially starts, what is it, June 4th, 5th, and 6th is our lessons. But I thought it'd be fun to jump in and work on a little project ahead of time. So I'm going to move my screen down a little bit, see a little less me and a little more of it. But I just want to say welcome. And if you see that little red button right there, give me the hashtag live. Of course, if you're watching on the replay, let me know when you're watching just by giving us a hashtag replay. Just kind of lets me know who's seen the video and who doesn't here in the private group, okay? Good morning, Cheryl, and Judy's with us. Welcome, welcome, ladies. We're just going to give it a couple minutes. So in the meantime, I'm going to show you, this is what I'm working on today. Can you guys see that? This has been on there for at least 4 years. And it's not peeling. Like literally, I would have to probably sand to get that off at this point. It is on there really, really well. This project is to look old and vintagey. It's not to make the colors pop in the napkin. So it doesn't have any base coat underneath it. It is strictly done on the galvanized pail because I wanted it to look like a really old piece. So you can kind of see the galvanized texture still coming through. You can see the fibers of the napkin like it was if it was an old label. And that was the purpose of this. If you wanted it to really pop, you would have to paint it a white or a light color underneath. Or, of course, the secret that I'm going to show you in the class of how to do it dark. But for today, we're just going to work on the galvanized surface. Now, I don't know where this galvanized pail came from. I have no clue. It's pretty heavy. It might have been a dollar store one. But honestly, I don't know because it's been so many years. If you wanted the whole bucket to look older, what you're going to do is, this has nothing to do with decoupaging. This is just, you know, repurposing. If you wanted this to have less shine and to look more old and dated, what you'd want to do is put on some gloves, grab some steel wool and some toilet bowl cleaner. And just put that on, let it sit for a couple minutes and then clean it off. That's going to remove any of your sheen. It's going to make it look much older. But I didn't know that secret when I did this side. So if I was to do it again, that's probably what I would do just to give it that whole old look. But because we've already done one side this way, I'm not going to do the other side the opposite. So, and I didn't have another galvanized bucket. Otherwise, I would leave it like this would go up for sale just like this. But I didn't have another galvanized bucket and I did want to show you how to do it. So here we go. Oh, you didn't know that about aging galvanized. I don't know what else it works on, but I know on galvanized metal, that's how it's done. According to Jamie Ray, that's who I learned it from. Okay, so I'm going to take a rag to start off with, just to keep my bucket from moving. I'm going to lay a rag out, and I'm going to roll up my sides, and it's just going to keep it a little more stable for me. If I was smart, I would have just grabbed 2 rags, one for each side. But that's going to work. Hope you guys can see this okay on this angle. I can tilt it probably a little bit. All right. So all we're simply going to do is, I'm going to grab my napkin. Let's slide that out of the way. I'm going to grab my napkin. These are on the website. If anyone's looking for this one, I've had these for ages. I've bought them over and over again a couple times because they were a big seller. And I'm going to cut it apart into the 4 squares. Hi, Christine. It's funny, so far all we've got in here, guys, for this live is, I think, our sorority sisters. Nobody else that signed up just for the decoupage group, and there's quite a few. are here. So that's interesting. It might be because I didn't put out a time, but I had some appointments this morning that I had to do over the phone. So I wasn't definite on what time I was going to be able to get on. So there's also quite a few that haven't managed to come into the group yet either. So I don't know what's up there. I hope they find us okay. They did pay and they signed up. So I'm just squeezing out some water out of my water brush. If you don't have a water brush already, you can just grab a regular paintbrush and dip it in water. And I'm just going to wet my edge. I don't want that straight line. Then taking my nail, I'm just going to kind of peel away some of that edge. Just to give it that feathered look. Oops. That's just going to give it a nice blend in. You're not, when you run your finger over it, you're not going to feel that harsh line. Okay. And I'm going to do that down all the sides. So what is everybody up to today? I don't have a lot left for the rest of the day. I might take a nap because the husband was up at like 2 this morning, so I didn't sleep well. I don't know what was up with him. He just said he wasn't feeling the best, and he was up at 2 o'clock. And then, of course, once I got up, he decided to go back to bed. Go figure. And so I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so I might just have a nap before I go live on the regular page again tonight for Craft Around the Clock. Other than that, I don't know. It's raining outside, and I'm tired. Anybody else just feeling drained today? Hello, Christine. If you have any questions as we go, of course, just drop them in the comments. It's not wet enough. It's funny, it is raining and my neighbors are cutting the grass. I don't understand it. They do it quite often. Does anybody else cut their grass in the rain? It's new to me. Oops. All right, so just peeling off my edge. And now I'm going to go to a dry corner. I'm going to kind of peel it back, and I'm going to remove my 2 layers. I can find just by ruffling my thumb over it. I can usually get them separated. If not, then I like to grab some tape and remove it that way. Some people like to do the and then pull it apart. I don't know. It just grosses me out. If it was for my own use, I guess it wouldn't probably gross me out as much. But when it's for something that might go up for sale, I don't know. Even though it's sealed in with Mod Podge, for some reason the whole lick and stick thing just kind of grosses me out. Okay, this one I can't get that second layer off like this, so I'm just going to grab some tape. Just a tiny piece. I'm going to stick a tiny bit to the back. And just a tiny piece of tape to the front here. Just let me get it off my finger here. And that pulls it apart really easy. And I don't, that front piece that's stuck where, you know, it might be a pattern or something, it's just lightly tacked down. It's not squeezed right in. Mel Carter is with us. Welcome, Mel. I was just explaining to the group, you could always go back and watch the replay, but I was explaining we're doing it on a galvanized pail. If you wanted your colors to really pop, you would paint underneath. You'd have it white or something like that. But because I want it to look old and vintagey and just to kind of melt into it like it does on that side, I'm just going to leave it galvanized. And if you wanted your galvanized pail to look older and you didn't want this, you know, it's quite shiny looking, I would probably have done this if I knew that tip back, you know, 4 years ago when I did the other side. But you would take some gloves, some steel wool, and some toilet bowl cleaner. And you can take the sheen off of your galvanized and make it look more aged. But for this one, I'm just going to leave it as it is. Where did I put my paintbrush? So I'm just using Mod Podge, but you can use any clear top really that is out there. If you're using Wise Owl, it would be Wise Owl Varnish. Country Chic is called Clear Top or Tough Coat. Gator Hide is, I think, DIY. But really, any top coat you can use. I love Mod Podge, though. I really do. It's my go-to. It's cheap. I kind of like that it goes on white, and then I can see when it dries. Where some of the varnishes would go on more, you know, clear. But it's up to you, whichever you prefer. Some people find that the Mod Podge is a little thick for them. I don't seem to have any problems with that, but. So I'm just going to lay on a nice coat. Just like that. I think I have to go up a little bit higher. Got a little piece of napkin stuck there. So Mel, I think you're the only newbie that I don't know in here at the moment. So do you have any experience with decoupaging? Just bunches up in the bag when it's wet. Wait a second, what does? What bunches up in the bag when it gets wet? I don't know what it is. I missed something. All right, I'm gonna make sure I've got myself centered here. I'm gonna just lay my napkin over top. Now on the other side, I have it lined up with this one, so I'm doing pretty much the same thing. I'm gonna grab, it's just lightly lying on there. I'm not pressing it down yet, guys. I'm gonna grab a little bit of cling wrap, whatever brand you like, that's fine. I just kind of bunch it up over my fingers, and that's how I'm going to smooth. I start from the center. Now that little ridge, I'm going to have to just kind of tap it down into place and just lightly work your way out. Now, do not press hard. If you press hard and drag, you are going to tear your napkin. It's a very light movement. If you find it's getting tacky, just rip off a new piece and flip it over. You don't want it to be tacky. You want it to have a good slide to it, okay? And some projects you don't mind having a little texture. Like if I had texture on this, it really wouldn't bother me because it's supposed to look old and vintagey. But if you're really particular, it's more difficult on your rounder surfaces to not get wrinkles. On flatter surfaces, I always recommend the iron method if you really don't want your wrinkles. But just check your saran wrap often, or your cling wrap, and make sure that it's not sticky. And you can see here, there's a little tear right there. Now, because this is an old vintage piece, it's really not going to bother me. But that's because it got a little tacky there. Okay. The thing is that napkins are made to absorb. So even though Mod Podge is quite thick underneath, it's going to want to soak it up and suck it through. So when it sucks it through, you are going to get some of that stickiness that comes through, and it will get on your cling wrap. So make sure you're checking it often. Okay. Grass. Ah, okay. Now I know what we're talking about. Yeah, I don't understand it. It gets wet and it bunches up underneath. I don't use a bag. We just shoot it out the other end and we go around and we sweep it. But I don't know. For some reason, they like to cut the grass in the rain. I don't know why I closed this up. I'm tired. Sorry, guys. I told my husband that this morning. I was like, I had a big day planned. I was supposed to sleep. He's like, I'm sorry. I don't know. I just couldn't sleep. So I'm going to start in the center. And I'm going to push my way out. Now, you want to make sure that you always have enough Mod Podge on your brush that, again, you're not getting a drag. If it starts dragging, you're going to rip your napkin. So I like to get a good coat on there, always working from the inside, pushing out. This way, if you've missed any of your edges, it's going to get covered up as well. And then I'll flip it. And then I'll overlap from where it was wet. And I'll drag out the other way. If you work the opposite way, if you start going this way, you're going to ruffle up your edges and you're going to cause more wrinkles, more bubbles. Now I do have some wrinkles in here, but like I said, it's supposed to look old and vintagey, so I am okay with it. And then once you have it all covered, you can kind of look at it and you can see where it's heavier cloudiness. Then at that point, you can take your brush and clean it off. Now, take notice that I'm not going all the way to that edge. I'm going about 1 inch from that edge, and I'm just making sure it's a nice, smooth coat. Okay? I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to do the same thing from this side, about 1 inch from that end. And I'm sliding it out this way. Your edges are sure to be down well, and it's just removing any excess Mod Podge or top coat. Okay? So it's a little cloudy, but that's going to dry clear. And that's all there is to this, except for, I'll get that later, except for I'm going to age it a little more. So I'm just going to dry this up. And for those of you that are new, I'm not a perfectionist. I teach my tips and tricks and show you the best I can, and you guys run from it from there. I'm not saying, you know, this is how it has to be done. This is just to give you ideas. One thing is with the metal, it dries nice and quickly. Have you done soup cans yet? Has anyone done soup cans, ketchup cans, your stewed tomato cans, any kind of canned food cans? I've done a few of them in the past. I was just looking around this morning. I don't know where they are. I might have given them all away now. But I've done a few in the past. And it's basically the same idea. You can paint it first if you want your colors to really pop. And then you get that cool texture often of the ribbing that's in the cans, which is kind of fun. Sweet. Okay, so I'm going to let that cool. This is where the hair blower would be nice to have the cold setting. Oh, you ironed your napkin on and your Mod Podge lifted. Yeah, that's probably why. I wouldn't recommend ironing it onto the metal because your metal's too hot. Like right now, if I touch this at all, it would peel. You've really got to wait for it to cool. And you painted on them. Okay. But have you decoupaged too, or did you paint and then decoupage? It's still quite warm, guys. You really want to wait for it to be cool. And all I'm going to be doing for distressing is I'm going to take some Distress Oxide and a little sponge. You can use a makeup sponge. You can use one of the, you know, professional little, it's on a wooden stick and it's got a foam thing on the end. I just like these things. They're cheap and they're disposable. But if I was to be rubbing that on the edges when it's still hot, I'm going to rip my napkin and it's going to peel up. So just make sure it's nice and cool before you do any detailing or anything like that. I do not have Telegram for anything, actually, Linda. I'm sorry. And this wasn't like really a scheduled class. I just thought it'd be fun to come in and kind of meet and greet with everybody. I think we're pretty much, I just want to make sure it's cool. So then at this point, I'm just going to take my little finger. Can you guys see that okay with the words? And just lightly dabbing it. And then I'm going to just go around the edges. And it's just going to kind of make it stand out like a stent, or not a stencil, but like a label would be. That's old. Just like that. And then I take one of these back layers and I just wipe it back a bit. And you can see that it's really stuck down well. Okay. Now, what I don't like when we do this is often the corners seem really squared still. And I think as they age, they would go down a little more. So I like to just go into the kitty corners and just kind of bring up that aging a little more. Just so it's not like a frame right around it. And then just soften it with your extra piece there. And that's it. If you find it's a little too dark in any spots, you can grab a wet baby wipe. And you can lightly wipe that back as well. Just like so. So then it's kind of looking aged, like an old label on there. What do you guys think? Any questions? That's pretty much it. Once it dries, it's going to lighten up a bit too. Like it's, that ink will kind of lighten a little bit. You can see on this side, it kind of fades in a bit. But I like how it just kind of gives it a little bit of definition. Jamie says it looks good. You just don't want to miss the thing. I know. I'm sorry. But that's why we have replays as well. I will look into Telegram. I don't know if it's an expensive thing. I really don't want to get into forking out more money at this point. We're not quite at that level yet, but I will look into it. Can you take it off? Off your metal tray? I would try. Christine, do you have a... I would heat it up. And I don't know if I would take a metal scraper to it because I'd be afraid that it would dig into the metal. But if you have a Chalk Couture one, or go to the dollar store and, you know, your egg flippers, grab one of those that you're not going to, you know, obviously use for food. Heat up your pan and try scraping that off. That would be... Oh, is Telegram free? Okay, I'm going to look into that. Thank you. I didn't know that. We did have a text line that I was doing from my work phone. And it worked well until we had people overseas. And I didn't quite realize at the moment because we were still quite small, right? And so, you know, Ontario, Canada and US, I have free texting on there. So it was just a group text that went out. It was nice. It was friendly. But then we got a couple people overseas and I got dinged with a really big bill. Okay, so if you have a CC scraper, I would just heat it up with your hot cycle on your hairdryer or with your heat tool and scrape it back. I haven't tried, but I would assume that would be the best thing. If you're saying it's lifting up already, that would be my best bet. I can look into that more for you, though. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a nice size bill there, Jamie. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing that no more. It was great. We've had that for a couple of years and had no problem. But somebody signed up from overseas. And of course, we don't ask that on our text line. We're just like, hey, give your first name and we'll send you out a text. But yeah, it was a little bit of a bill. It's okay. We survived. So I will look into, what'd you say it was called? Telegram? Wait, I missed that message. Yeah, Telegram. Okay. I will definitely look into that. Alrighty, guys. So I don't know if I'll be back in or not. What do we got? We got like 2 weeks. I don't have a calendar in front of me here. Let's see if I can find one. I never know where to find it on this thing. There it is. It is the 11th. Oh, we have like still almost 3 weeks. Actually, about 3 weeks until the group. You never know. I might be in here again. Make sure your notifications are on. And I do try and put a post on our regular Facebook page. So make sure you're following the Shabby Chic Vintage Chicks. Maybe I'll try and give a bit better notice in here. Would that help if I put a post in here if I don't get Telegram up and running? Because electronics are not my friend. Decoupage, yeah, I can do day and night. But electronics, I have some glitches with. But I can try to put maybe a post in ahead of time saying, you know, I'll be going live at this time, if that helps. We're so happy to have you all here. I can't see comments again because I had to close that window for the calendar, but here we go. Alrighty. I guess that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoy this. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you want to make it look more vintage, use some steel wool and toilet cleaner. Jamie Ray likes the Lysol one. I've used, what was the other brand? Scrubbing Bubbles, I think it was, that I used. It worked well on a different bucket. I didn't know it at the time, otherwise I would have done this one too. So, yeah, we're Eastern Standard Time. It is 11:27 right now here, if that helps. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for joining. And, oh, I will be jumping in one more time. Oh, no, I guess I'll do that on the regular page where I'll open a box because if you guys have ordered the kit, I've got it sitting over there. If you order the kit, there's a couple surprises in there to some people. We've kind of done a door prize. And I didn't know how to go about doing the door prize without having to mail things out and make his wait, right? So what we've decided to do is we lined up all the boxes and we didn't know whose was whose yet. They were just all set up, so we were filling them. And then I handed a few things to my daughter and we kind of put some things in your box. So don't throw out your box or miscellaneous items. Don't be like, well, why do I have a button in there? Let's say. Save it because that button is part of the door prize thing. You'll know what your actual prize is during the classes. If you were one of the first 6 people to sign up, you got an extra little bonus package in there as well. I think that just about covers it. If we have any questions, though, we will cover it all in there. But yeah, we're going to do some door prizes in there. So if you find strange and wonderful things in your box, that's what it's for. Okay, guys? So hold on to it because you'll need that for your prizes. Bye, guys. Have a great day.